AM 590, KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. It's time for the Metro's only racing talk show. The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Now, here's Dan Taylor, Buddy Ray, and Andrew Kosiski.
Good morning, one, and good morning, all. Thank you for joining us for another edition of The Front Stretch. I am so excited to say this. Presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs. Good to have Joe's Karting back on board. joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. You can also find them on Facebook. Just search Joe's Karting. You guys have been doing a great job with the Facebook activity the last couple of weeks, posting stuff, and they even got a couple of profile pictures up there of you.
Yeah, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that profile picture of me. There's going to be some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm not going to go into detail, but you got to follow it. And you've seen how our Facebook and our social media, it's really taken off. I enjoyed
the comment this contest with you sitting in one of the bathtubs.
Oh yeah, the caption
that got a little out of hand.
Yeah, we were laughing about that. That's one washed-up racer.
As you can hear, I'm Dan Taylor, joined in studio, as always, by Buddy Ray and Andrew Kosiski. Guys, thanks so much for sitting down, and let's talk a little bit of racing. Had a bit of a race last weekend, and you want to start with the Daytona 500, the Cup race, or the Nationwide race? Which one should we start with?
I want to start with the Nationwide, because there's one thing I immediately want to go to. So I'm on jski.com, and my wife, Rachel, last night was telling me about this. After the Nationwide race, and, we're not going to break down the whole wreck. Everybody knows that there was a big wreck. Some fans got injured.
28 got injured.
Yep, 28 got
7
injured.
of them critical, and I believe 2 of them are still in serious condition.
Two were critical.
Okay, you're right. 7 of them, yes. 7 of them were serious, and then 2 were listed as critical.
Here's what really makes me mad. All of a sudden, we've gone to a Sue Happy nation, and now there's fans that were injured that are wanting to sue. It was Daytona International Speedway's.
Hold on.
Let me finish.
But don't put words in fans' mouths, though.
Are you looking at it?
All we know so far is that a lawyer has been put on retainer. No lawsuits have been filed. No statements have been made by fans. That's all that has been said, is that a lawyer has been placed on retainer.
Is there no sign when you enter in the place that says enter at your own risk? Anywhere on a ticket, anything, because isn't that how fun parks are? It's enter at your own risk. If you get hurt, you get hurt. It don't matter.
Can you find that J-Ski thing? It's on there.
Yeah, I read it this afternoon. It said that a lawyer has been placed on retainer. That's it. And that the lawyer is investigating it. Basically, what I read from it was that they contacted the lawyer in Florida, and they are investigating whether there is a case. That's as far as it went. Now, the question you're asking me was, if I was in that fan's place and I was sitting in ICU and had a lot of surgery done, would I sue? Me personally, I would contact NASCAR before and say, you guys up for paying my medical bills, because there's a lot of it, and it was because of safety issues that I'm in this position I'm in, and then go from there. If NASCAR was just complete jerks and shut the door on me and said nope, and they lawyered up, then sure, yeah, I'd lawyer up too.
Now, I kind of see where you're coming from. What I was getting at before you started talking there was on J-Ski, if you read the one line, it says, when you go to a NASCAR race, they put preventive measures in place to keep the spectators safe. And that's what they were questioning. So we're after the same thing here, I believe.
Yeah.
But to me, honestly, if you go to a NASCAR race where you're going to see 180, 200 mile an hour cars, you can't control everything in life. You have a fence there. The fence is there, and then it doesn't say who was possibly wanting to explore that option, and there wasn't a whole it didn't mention names, but to me, I just think that is completely asinine. You went to,
but there's a difference, and let me play the side of the injured person here. We all heard that story years ago about the McDonald's customer that sued because of the hot coffee. Okay, you dig into that story a little bit deeper, and it comes to the fact that there had been regulations set in place stating that your hot coffee cannot exceed this. That McDonald's had been warned several times that their coffee was 50 to 75 degrees hotter than what it had been they'd been told. So when the person spilled the coffee and not just burnt themselves, they scolded themselves. They felt, you know what, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, so I'm going to prove a point here. Not saying NASCAR didn't do what they were supposed to do, but it's worth investigating, and NASCAR is doing the same thing. They're investigating the situation. Is there something we can be doing more? After the tragic loss of Dale Sr., there was a lot of changes safety-wise because NASCAR said, okay, we've got to look at this and figure out what's going on. The Hans device, the safer barrier came into place. A lot of different safety features came into place. Not restrictor plate, I apologize. But a lot of different safety features came into place because of that. I hope this doesn't turn into... And my biggest fear when I first saw this was somebody sues and wins for $50 million, and then 28 other people follow with the same lawsuits. So NASCAR's now got to pay out $50 million to 28 different people. That's a killer for a sanctioning body, especially someone who's struggling like NASCAR. So,
and to me, it angers me. It angers me.
It massively taints an amazing race. But, Andrew, what do you think? I mean, you're kind of a part of a speedway. Do fans enter at their own risk?
Yeah, that's what I mean. At 100%, they got to know what they're going into right there. I mean, I understand a football game. You can't really think about you're going to get hurt, something like that. But you're at a place where you could blow a piston right out of the thing. It could end up 20 rows in the stands too. Now, something like that is just a freakish deal.
Yeah,
but it happens. You enter at your own risk. Them crew guys enter at their own risk. The drivers are risking themselves every single week. It's just. I don't see how anybody could sue here. I believe NASCAR will help pay everybody to get their injuries done, but if they sue, they ain't a loyal fan.
The only thing I will say, and kind of what you were saying, Dan, if I'm the guy that was hit by the tire tragically in your NASCAR, I would probably call up NASCAR and say, hey, look, I did go to a race. You guys had all of your safety precautions per protocol in place, but unfortunately I was hurt. Would you just help pay for my medical bills?
Yeah, because for those guys, I don't know enough about health insurance to know if they're going to get covered if they have health insurance through their company. They may not. Because
you don't ever know who they are.
Yeah, so my hope is that an investigation is launched into negligence and that it is found that NASCAR is not negligible, and so nothing ever comes of it. I mean, that's my hope of what this investigation is that they're asking this lawyer to look into, did NASCAR know this could be an issue, and were they negligible to do anything about it? So right. That's me giving the benefit of the doubt to about everybody. So
all right,
let's talk about that race, though.
Yeah.
My God, was that an amazing nationwide race?
If every nationwide race was like that, I'd be a nationwide fan before I would be a Sprint Cup fan.
I said it a lot last year. Those boys down in the nationwide, and girls now, they know how to race.
Well, they're so hungry. I mean, you can almost liken it to, and you and I were talking about this off air, we could liken it to a college football game or, college versus NFL. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, you go NFL, you're more worried about how much money you're going to make a year. But when you're in college, you want to knock the boys on their butt. You want to make every play count because you are so hungry to get to the top level. So to me, a lot of the college games are way more exciting, funner to watch than what the NFL games are. Same thing with the nationwide series guys. These guys ain't afraid to go, and you and I were laughing about this, 3 and 4 wide at Daytona, 200 mile an hour.
That was amazing.
That was amazing. I mean, that was the best race I've seen in NASCAR in a long time.
Let's keep in mind, it's not the exact same cars, and NASCAR is looking into, do they need to do some modifications to the Gen 6 car? Well,
you don't need 200 mile an hour to put on a good race.
But you do need to be able to pass. And we saw that time and time again in the Cup Series, that once you got alongside the leader, whether you had 2 or 3 cars behind you helping you draft, you couldn't get by them because they would side draft all of your momentum away.
I'm not going to lie, and I love racing. That was the most boring 500 race I've ever seen. You didn't see pack racing. It was all single file.
I like tandem racing way better than that.
That was single file, follow the leader for 500 miles, basically.
Kyle Busch comes out of his car and says, who's ever leading at the end of the yellow, that's who's going to win the race. And it was like, Jimmy Johnson, good job, Chad Canal. Do what you're doing again.
You did hear it there. Jimmy Johnson won the Cup Series and takes the points lead for the Cup Series. But down in the nationwide, Kyle Larson. Holy cow! Did he have an ungodly hard hit? If you've been living in a hole since last Saturday and you haven't seen it yet, go back and watch this. And this is some clips. This is Tony Stewart post-race comment on that accident.
The important thing is what's going on the front stretch right now. It's we've always known, and since racing was started, this is a dangerous sport. But it's we assume that risk, and it's hard when the fans get caught up in it. So as much as we want to celebrate right now, and as much as this is a big deal to us, I'm more worried about the drivers and the fans that are in the stands right now because that was I could see it all in the mirror, and it didn't look good from where I was at either.
And that was a sentiment echoed by almost every driver, and that was something I was very proud to hear come out of those guys was that. everybody pretty much said, this is something that we take on as drivers. We understand the responsibility, but those are fans. They don't assume that same responsibility of possibly being killed when they go to a race.
Oh, I totally agree. And I tell you what, for Tony Stewart being, I believe, a 3-time Sprint Cup champion, you have to give him, props for not being excited about winning the race and being more, having enough professionalism behind him to think of the fans first. And I mean, that was just really a class act on Smoke's part.
And that's, maybe we're gushing on our guy a little bit too much, but that's Tony. I mean, he's always had the right thing to say, barring his first few years when he would punch a reporter or something like that.
He would do that? Throw a helmet at you?
Here's Kyle Larson's reaction as he was coming out of the infield care center.
I feel good. Just not sure where everything ended up on the racetrack. I hope all the fans are okay and, all the drivers all right. I know I took a couple big hits there and saw my engine was gone. So just hope everybody's all right.
Here is one of the fans, Brian Reed, their reaction to what they saw as the accident occurred.
It just happened so fast. You could just see everybody just backing up, dodging. Some people were ducking. It was just so fast.
And you saw all the pictures on Facebook. I know I was kind of live Facebooking it as we were getting information as fast as we could.
We were texting a lot.
I was texting
quick.
with about 6 different people that night. It was scary. And honestly, what frightened me the most, we've seen wrecks. We've seen cars go up into the catch fence and just be shredded. But what really scared me the most was that ESPN would not show the replay for about 20 to 30 minutes after the incident happened.
I mean, honestly, people love to watch the wrecks.
It's the excitement of it. And it really started to scare me when they weren't showing it. And then finally when they did show a replay, it was from like an obscure camera over into the end of turn 2, and you really couldn't see the crowd very well. So when the accident did happen, you didn't see things flying in there because they needed to cover themselves. They needed to be careful not.
Did you notice, though, how when they started showing the replay, once they started showing the replays, then there was like different angles and they started like almost overdoing it with the replay. Yeah. But at the same time, within an hour before or after, then we started getting reports. People didn't die. The one was in surgery, one was a minor, but people didn't die. There was only 2 critical. And so I think, honestly, I'm going to call it what it is, in my opinion. They were just kind of, and I understand it, they were, protecting themselves.
Yeah, well, and there's tact to this, too.
Yes.
And I want to defend NASCAR because there was a lot of comments made on Facebook and online when NASCAR pulled down a lot of those videos. Imagine if you're sitting at home and your loved one was at the race, and you pop on Facebook and you watch a video of your loved one being killed by a tire. How traumatic that would be to you.
Oh, God.
There's laws out there that restrict the United States government from releasing information of wounded warriors and soldiers that were killed in action until the family can be properly notified, because that's just the right way to do it. That's the reason why NASCAR pulled those videos down, I think, was because they want to be careful. If somebody did end up dying, and even if somebody didn't end up dying, they wanted to make sure they went through the right procedures of contacting that person's loved ones.
It's just protocol.
Absolutely. So to all of you people who think that it was a conspiracy, seriously, what conspiracy could it be?
Yeah.
Honestly. But
okay, let's move on to 500. Let's talk about this slow, boring race.
And that was about all the action for the Daytona 500.
The slow and boring?
Let's talk about Danica Patrick becomes the first woman ever to lead at the Daytona 500 and the Indianapolis 500. She's not the first person to lead at Daytona. That was Janet Guthrie, led 5 laps under caution. Danica does become the first woman to lead under green and lead at the Daytona 500.
I tell you what, though.
Can she become the first female to lead a lap in the Daytona 500? Under green, fans to their feet, to the line. She's done it. Danica Patrick has led the Indy 500 and the Daytona 500.
And these fans were cheering. They were on their feet.
To DW's point, I completely agree with him. While I was at Quaker Steak and Lube, enjoying my third lube tube. Things were getting fuzzy at that point. Fans got up and started cheering. I mean, there was definitely a pull for her to lead a lap and to even win the race. I mean, she did a lot for that sport on Sunday.
She seriously, by about halfway through the race, I was like a lot of people on Facebook. I was Facebooking a lot of people, texting a lot of people, and I didn't think she was going to be that big of a factor. Shoot, 25 laps into the race. And here she is at the halfway mark, and I'm like, my God, this girl is for real. She's the real deal. And then I actually started rooting for her. I was like, Danica could possibly get this done. And wow.
Absolutely. It was insane to see what she did. And I kind of expected it because you look back at what she did last year, and all the wrecks during Daytona Speed Weeks, none of them were her fault. She was wrecked out every time.
Well, yeah, you're right.
And it's the same thing of saying, oh, well, Jimmy Johnson sucks because he wrecks all the time at super speedways. But he doesn't just wreck on his own. It gets wrecked.
Well, I agree with your wrecks, but at the same time, I remember last year, we didn't see her passing a lot of cars. We didn't see her running super strong. And this year, it's like, whoa.
She didn't pass a lot of cars this year, though.
Hey, at this point, when you qualify for the pole and then you're running top 10 the whole race, I'm a firm believer in Danica now. Now we have the short tracks, we have the intermediate tracks coming up, but the super speedway, look out Talladega. I can't wait to see her there.
I'm not yet. But a rubber down racetrack, anybody can run up front and do good in a rubber down racetrack, and that's what we saw on Sunday. Excuse me. Last week it was a one lane, hold your own. I honest to God think you could have jumped in the car and done it. Well, okay, I pushed the line. I should never said that. I honestly think the average
My
Joe...
head just got big.
I saw
the
that.
Average good racer.
The average good racer could have jumped in one of those cars and jumped right in line and ran, I think. No, why she didn't pull out there at the end, that's just... I don't think she's ever going to do that. Junior said himself, is she going to go? Is she going to go? If she'd have went, I think Junior would have pushed her to the win.
Good question to ask you, Andrew, because I asked Dan this. At the very end of the race, I think there was like 1 or 2 laps left and that caution came out. It almost seems, or I think it was the white flag, the last lap of the race. DW said, oh, we got a car in trouble on the backside or wherever it was. And it almost like the first 2 cars backed off. Like, if you're in your late model or my sport mod, we hear the transponder, the guy in the transponder going, caution, caution. And there's been times, honestly, it's happened to everybody. You'll back off a little bit, and it almost seems like they backed off when their crew chief was like, caution, and the other guys shot forward, because I didn't see that big of a run.
They never threw the caution.
Well, they may not have thrown the caution, but I think just the word caution, psychologically, that driver's just for a split second lifted.
they never had the word. Are you talking when Danica dropped really far back there late? Is that what you're talking about?
There was 2 cars. She was right behind
Greg Biffle.
She was right by, yeah, and then all of a sudden you saw a caution. Well, if you watch a replay, when they say caution, all of a sudden here comes Dale Jr. and Mark Martin. They just shot right by him.
No, there wasn't. There was
never a caution. They never threw the caution.
They never threw it.
I think that was just the force of the draft is why they did.
They said caution, and then they didn't throw the caution, and DW was like, oh, there's a car in trouble. But they never threw the caution.
Right. I don't think they ever yelled cautions out, though. I mean, I'm saying that we don't know. We didn't listen to the radio, so we don't know. I'm with Andrew. I don't think that she lifted or she backed off.
I just think it was the force of Junior with the air and the draft and everything, and Junior and Mark Martin just had a good run, and then eventually she kind of went, and everybody started squeezing up there, and her and Biffle just kind of got squeezed out. Jeff Gordon dropped back to 20th.
Yeah.
And he was up there the whole time, too. I mean, it was just kind of she didn't go with Junior like Junior went with Martin.
We got to wrap up turn 1, but let's get the final details. Jimmy Johnson takes the victory. Dale Jr. comes home 2nd, Mark Martin 3rd, Brad Keselowski 4th, Ryan Newman comes home 5th, Danica gets her 8th place finish. A lot of drivers that you typically see up in the front: Carl Edwards, Casey Kane, Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, Tony Stewart. Just reading off about Kevin Harvick. Those guys all had outside of the top 30 finishes, and they've got a long way to go, but a lot of season to make their way up to the front. So that's how the Daytona 500 wrapped up. We'll come back, and we're going to talk with Mid-Nebraska Raceway about their 2013 season. That's all coming up next on The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting and Council Bluffs on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
We're working the high line into turn 2 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting, online at joeskarting.com.
This is the front stretch presented by Joe's Karting and Council Bluffs, online at joeskarting.com. That's karting with a K. Give them a call today and get your outing or event booked in the number 256-5278,
or you can email me at buddyj@joeskarting.com.
We're going to sit down and talk with Mid-Nebraska Raceway and Doug Stange as they talk about their 2013 season. Doug joining us on the phone now. Doug, thanks so much for sitting down with us.
You're welcome. I'm glad you called.
Doug, talk about your off-season. Have you guys done any kind of work to the track, any dirt work or improvements to the concession area and the grandstands?
Yeah, we really haven't done any much of that this year. We've done a lot of that in the past, so this year kind of let that slide a little bit. Everything seems to be in pretty good shape, so we don't have to do too much this year from the off-season.
have you released your schedule yet, or are you still finalizing it?
Yeah, no, we've got a schedule planned. We're going to start with April 13th, which is going to be a test and tune and practice day. Our opening night will be April 20th. We'll run every Saturday night through September 28th. Championship night will be on September 21st.
Do you have any specials scheduled this year?
Yeah, we got 3 specials. The first one's going to be June 1st on a Saturday night with the SLMR and the CDM, and we will run our local Grand National late models with them. So that's our first special. That's going to be, we'll also run the IMCA Sport Mod, IMCA Hobby Stocks, and Happy Hornets with them on that. So that should be one of our first opening big nights there, starting on June 1st with 3 super late model classes all put together along with others. So that should be pretty entertaining.
Any other special nights you got?
Yeah, our next one is in July, and that is July 13th. That is the Chuck Bossman Memorial NCRA Late Model Nationals. It's a show we've been doing for 11 years. The NCRA Super Late Models come in. We're going to run our Grand Nationals with them on that night, and we'll also be running the IMCA Sport Mods, the IMCA Hobby Stocks, and the Happy Hornets on that night. Our third special is we bring in the NCRA Sprint Cars, and that is August 17th. Pays $2,000 to win. We also add our Grand National Late Models, the IMCA Sport Mods, the IMCA Hobby Stocks, and the Happy Hornets to that night. That one there is sponsored by Chief Industries and KKPR Classic Hits 98.9. So that's been a pretty good night for us with the Chief Industries and stuff like that. So those are our 3 specials throughout the year.
For a driver like myself in a sport mod, I've never been to your track. How big is your track, and what can I expect when I show up out there?
Well, sport mods are going to be the new class this year. We've been running IMCA Modifieds for the last 17 years, and we've converted over and going to run the sport mods this year for the first time. We've dropped the IMCA Modifieds. We're a little slow on car count there, so we're going to run the sport mods. But, our track is labeled as a 3/8 mile semi-bank clay track. It's probably a little bit on the bigger size of the 3/8. So you can expect it's a nice big circular oval track, with a little semi-bank to it. So you can expect some good speeds out of it with a sport mod or any classes as far as that concerns.
Where can people go to get more information about your track? Do you guys have a website and a Facebook page?
Yeah, we sure do. You can go to www.midnebraskaspeedway.com, and you can see all the information with the schedule on it and any information you need to see there with pictures of the track or the location or whatever on there. It's located at Doniphan, Nebraska. That's 8 miles south of Grand Island on Old Highway 281.
Okay, and I've just found my way there. Looks like September 28th, you guys have a night called Cheaters Fun Night. Talk about that.
Yeah, we started at this last year. Our regular season championship night ends on the 21st, and the weather's been kind of cooperating here the last few years later there in September and October, so we thought we'd throw something together, and we did a Cheaters Topless Fun Night. We kind of opened up the rules on the Grand National late models a little bit, run and put a 4-barrel on or whatever, some different tires or whatever, no weight rule. And on the modifieds and sport mods, we kind of combine them too. They can top the tops off them if they want. They can run any Hoosier tire. Things are a little bit open. There's not much rules. Hobby stocks and the IMCA stock cars, we've kind of combined them. They got to run the hobby stock tires and wheels that size, but they can run bigger carburetors, and there's no weight rule on the modifieds and stuff. So, and the Hornets, we kind of open them up, to let them run kind of whatever. So they can put wings on them if they'd like to, or spoilers or whatever, and dress them up or whatever they'd like to do. So that's something we kind of started last year and had a pretty fair input on that, and we're going to kind of build off of that a little bit more this year. We were going to start 20 cars and all-lay features last year. We were going to start all cars 3 abreast on a start, and stuff. So we may change that again this year a little bit, maybe start the double file restart on the yellows and restarts like that, and stuff. So we're just trying to build that up a little bit, just make it just an all-around fun night.
So on the sport mod versus A mod cheaters night, would I be allowed to put like 4-inch tall Lexan sail panels on the side of the car and run late model tires?
Yes, you can. You can do whatever you want.
4 foot tall, Doug. Tell him 4 foot tall he could put on there, not 4-inch tall. He only wants to put 4 inches on there. That ain't even worth putting on there. He could put 4 foot tall, can't he, Doug?
I thought I said 4 foot tall.
We had one of our modifieds put a 4-foot sideboard along the whole length of his car.
Wow.
On that. So, and he flew, so it was one of our local drivers, Wade Cross, number 21. He come out with
I know Wade.
A 4-foot sideboard on the whole side of his modified car.
We're joined this morning on the front stretch by Doug Stange of Mid-Nebraska Raceway in Grand Island. Doug, what about ticket prices? What's a weekly ticket price cost?
Weekly ticket prices are $10. Kids 6 through 12 are $5. 5 and under is free. Pit passes are $25 on the weekly shows. Specials are higher priced and different according to that. The SMR show will be a $15 adult ticket. $30 pit pass. Kids 6 through 12 is $5. NCRA late models and the NCRA sprint cars will be $18 at the gate with $30 pit passes, and kids 6 through 12 will be $5, and 5 and under is free.
He just mentioned the $15 for the SLMR series, and we've talked to all these tracks in the previous weeks, Joe. The one thing about the SLMR series that I really like is the cost affordability to go out and watch these guys race. You're not hearing the $25, $35, $40 ticket prices. It's right there at $15, give or take a few dollars. It's really affordable.
It's affordable. A lot of the racetracks are understanding, we try to keep the purse down enough for the tracks to be able to make money on it. We try to keep it to where the racers can keep going. It's a tough thing out there. Everybody has to make a little bit in order to keep it going. And then, you just do the best you can, and we hope Doug makes money, because if Doug makes money, he has him back again the following year.
Are you going to be racing out there, Andrew?
Yes, sir.
How many times are you going to get lapped?
3, 4.
Oh, okay.
That's in the heat. That's in the heat.
he turns it on for the feature.
No, Andrew. I think Andrew will be all right.
I think I'll be all right out there.
Andrew's never raced at my track before, but his dad has.
Yeah, I've raced out there a number of times. It's a great racetrack to go out to, and if you want to go out and enjoy yourself for an evening, it's usually just a nice facility to go to. And Andrew's going to go there this year and run, and I'm kind of proud that he's going to be there. He's pulling up at all these tracks. He's planning on racing this whole SLMR series this year, and I think it's going to be good for him, and I think it'd be good that he gets to visit all these tracks and gets to go out and, shake hands with all these new promoters that he hasn't really met before.
I think we'll have a good showing on that night, where I'm going to put my Grand Nationals with a points race with them and the CDM, and the CDM's talking like they're bringing maybe 10 cars. Because the following night they're doing the same show at Dawson County Raceway in Lexington, so it kind of gives them guys a 2-night swing to race 2 nights within 90 miles apart. So I think we're going to have a good car count, with my 15, and if the Colorado or Championship brings 10 cars with them, and the SLMR brings 15, 20 cars, I think we're going to see a good 35, 40 car count field, and it should be pretty good racing.
Be a good 4-heat race with 10 cars in a heat, sounds like to me.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm planning on it.
June 1st, again, out at Mid-Nebraska Speedway in Grand Island, Nebraska. MidNebraskaSpeedway.com is where you can go to get more information. Did you guys say you had a Facebook page also?
No, we do not have a Facebook. We just have a website.
Just the website still works. It's easy to get there. Talk about your weekly races. When does the gates open and when do races start?
All gates on all the shows on Saturday, they open at 5 and races start at 7.
All right. Anything we're leaving out for you? Anything else you want to cover?
I don't think so. Sounds pretty good.
All right, Doug. Thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it, and you have a great day.
Okay, thanks a lot.
And that was Doug Stange of Mid-Nebraska Raceway. Good talking to Doug. And just around the corner, we're going to sit down with the gas man, Jack Dover, and talk about all the rumors that I've been hearing about his 2013 season and talking about him going down to Australia and doing a little racing. This is The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Time to grab another tear-off and make your move. We're headed into Turn 3 on the front stretch, presented by Joe's Karting.
And this is Turn 3. As always, we sit down and have conversations with people locally through dirt or NASCAR, and our conversation today is with the Gas Man, joining us for, I believe this is your 3rd time on the show, right, Jack?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, 3-timer here. I think, I don't think anybody else has that many appearances, no other driver.
No, nobody likes everybody as much as they do Jack.
Jack's a one of a kind. Jack, did you pick up any accents from your
friend Brody?
Yeah.
No, I didn't.
Well, we can't wait. Is he coming back this year to do any crewing for you?
Probably not this year, but next year he probably will be back.
Talking about your crew guy, Brody Tolick, right? Talick. Okay, he's down from Australia. You went down to Australia this year and did a little bit of racing. My first question to you is, I've heard a rumor that the toilets down there flush counterclockwise. Is that true?
That is false.
It's false.
That's false. But they do have 2 buttons on the toilet. You can do a half flush or a full flush.
I saw that in Europe, and once again, The Simpsons has failed me.
Why would you do a half flush or a full flush?
Because when you
conservative over there in Australia, they say they're rainwater. They don't have dryers. It's different living over there.
Yeah, it's kind of bare bones stuff. And Europe was the same way. You had to pay somebody to go into the bathroom, and they did the same thing. If you peed, you used the half flushed. If you deuced, you went full force. They save stuff over there. They're not wasters like we are here in America.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Talk about your racing down there. I saw some pictures on Facebook. You were kind of keeping everybody up to date. How'd you do down there?
We did decent. I mean, we were leading the feature one night, and we were playing string times the whole time we were there. And I halfway through the race, I accidentally spun out and ended up going to the back. And when I got passed by Donnie Shots and started getting lapped, I just pulled off. And then we had some other decent runs, and mainly we ran about 7th race, all the races we were in. And then the last race we were at was like National Nationals only over there in Australia. And we blew up the last night there. So wasn't a good way to end the trip, but I also had a lot of fun. So that's the main thing that counts is had a lot of fun. I can't thank Brody enough for taking me over there, and Home Pride Company to fly me over there.
Yeah, did you take your Home Pride 53 over there, or did you race a car that was already there?
No, absolutely. Brody, the kid that helps me when he comes over here, he has his own car, and it's actually the same thing I race here, so it worked out good. I fit well, and same motors is what I run here in the 410s, the Saber power, and so I mean, I knew what I was working with, and that helps a lot when you can go there and you know what to work with. You don't have to learn new stuff. So,
Jack, there's a lot of sprint car drivers, whether it be World of Outlaw, 360s, whatever it may be in the sprint car world. There's a lot of them that go over there to Australia in the wintertime. 2-part question here. Is there a reason why so many of the sprint car guys go over there in the wintertime? And if there is, also the other question is, when you guys come back to the stateside, do you guys learn a lot about yourself and your driving style that you can apply to the tracks here in the U.S.?
Not really. I mean, there's 20 guys over there that ran that were from America when I was over there, and the people in Australia think we're God over there. So they'll ship us over there or pay for us to come over there to race this stuff because we get to race twice as much here. And the other reason we like going over there to race in the winter is because it keeps us from sleeping when we get back here. We're ahead of all the other guys that are going to go over there.
So is it just simply getting that extra experience?
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. It's just more laps underneath your belt, and the more laps you get, the better off you're going to be.
Well, let's get to the big rumors that we've been hearing about you. I want to get to a couple of them. I mean, we've got several of them. Is it true that you're dating Taylor Swift?
No.
I thought it was Carrie Underwood.
Okay, is it Carrie?
Well, she's married, though.
Well, that hasn't stopped a lot of women.
No.
Especially when you're a race car driver like Jack Dover.
I'm pretty sure if I was dating Taylor Swift, we'd have an outlaw team going.
Would you be okay if she wrote another song?
That'd be all right.
Wrote one about you?
All right, then.
I also heard that you actually went down to Australia to try out for the new Crocodile Dundee movie.
Yeah. Another false rumor.
I don't know what you're talking about. All these are probably completely true.
Yeah, right.
Racing
probably something Buddy came up with.
You mean to tell me there's a myth out there that Buddy's a BSer?
Yeah.
I don't believe it. All right, the real rumors we've been hearing. We've heard that you may or may not have locked up a season in the World of Outlaws.
That is false.
False? Oh.
There was talk, and it almost did happen, but it didn't work out at the last minute, and ended up going to the slow.
Oh.
Another rumor that I heard, Jack, some time ago, actually a couple months ago at least, was that you may be working on a either part-time or full-time ARCA ride.
Hopefully one race at least this year, and if we do well, hopefully somebody will see us, and it's not 100% sure, but we're still working on it.
Do you know what race and who for?
We're talking Michigan.
Okay. Can you say who the race is with?
We haven't actually. There's quite quite a bit of different teams out there, and we haven't decided which one we're going to go with.
Okay.
It's pretty much that's why I went down to Daytona for with Gary Swanson, and we went down there to check everything out and see who had the best stuff and the best equipment, who was the nicest, and what's going to cost. So we got all that figured out now. We just got to get the money.
You do secure, even if it is one race, if you do secure an ARCA ride, we'll get the exclusive breaking news from the gas man himself, I assume.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Awesome. That's what 3 times on this show will get you.
There you go.
I don't know if we're hurting or helping your image any, but hey, we're going to try.
That's right. I appreciate it.
Are you going to tweet from inside the car?
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
Money's not bad.
Wouldn't you mind taking over after him, though, winning a Sprint Cup championship?
I wouldn't mind that. I'm sure he's got plenty of money.
Yeah, well.
So what's your immediate plans here in the Midwest stateside? What's the gas man up to for sprint car racing? I mean, sprint car racing wouldn't be the same without the gas man.
Well, like you said earlier, that rumor you heard, that was going to be true, and at the last minute they backed out and decided to go with Lucas Wolf, and I had nothing done to my team, or pretty much all I did was clean it up and set the motors up the house, and it's been sitting since. So now me and Will are here in the shop and trying to get stuff done, and cars come along good, and stuff's come along good, and we're going to plan on running the Midwest stuff around here, and probably travel a little bit, but nothing crazy.
Now, would that be with Midwest ASCS?
Yeah, we'll run Midwest ASCS, and probably go to Knoxville. We want to get over in Illinois a little bit this year, and down south a little bit, and probably after the year we'll go back to Arizona. Any
chance we're going to see over at the famous I-80 Speedway or Eagle Raceway this year?
Yeah, actually, we're going to be at I-80. I think it's April 5th and 6th at ASCS Midwest, so we're going to be there for sure. And switch up the color scheme this year. It's going to be yellow, black, and red, but just different scheme. It's going to look pretty good. I'm pretty excited about it.
Did you pick up any new sponsors, same sponsors, anything big?
Same sponsors. It's still home-type companies and certified transmission, like overhead doors, loud shades, the chassis. Just all the same people. We're still looking for some. If you know anybody, send them my way. That's all right.
We'll do that for you, buddy. Are you going to run for national points in ASCS or just stick with Midwest?
We're not points racing at all. I mean, we haven't done that the last 2 years, and it's just been a lot of fun and space and whatever, not having to worry about points. And I mean, we still won the Midwest Championship last year and wasn't expecting it. And we ain't going to run for the national deal because they started last week, so we're already out of the league for that. So we're just going to run whatever and not points race this year.
Hey, we just got done talking with Doug Staines from Mid-Nebraska Raceway. Have you ever raced over there?
Mid-Nebraska.
Grand Island area? Donovan?
No, I haven't, actually.
You haven't?
Is it a big track or a little track, or what size is it?
It's basically, it's a little bit smaller than like an I-80, kind of McCool Junction side, no walls or nothing. I could have swore they've had sprints out there before, but they honestly might not have. I don't know if they have. I think you had to have, I guess you don't have to have walls to race a sprint car on it, but I think there's certain regulations, isn't there?
No, we actually race a lot throughout the country, and they don't have a lot of walls, a lot of places where we go.
Okay. Do you prefer that, a track with a wall or berm?
I love when a track has a wall because, when you get a wall, it holds the dirt in and you get that big cushion right up against the wall, and that's what I like running right up top against the wall.
I see. Well, Jack, any other news you want to break with us tonight, or have we pretty much covered all the rumors?
We covered all the rumors. I mean, main thing is if there's any sponsors out there looking to sponsor a car or be part of a team, I'm looking for sponsors always, and just looking forward to the race season here in the Midwest.
What's the easiest way for sponsors to get a hold of you and fans to kind of track your progress throughout the year?
We got a Facebook page. It's Jack Dover Racing, and then we got a website. It's www.jackdoverracing.com. You can get a hold of us on either one of those and get in touch with me on there.
All right, Jack, thanks so much for your time, and you have a great weekend.
All right, you guys too. Thanks for having me again.
Jack Dover, the gas man, joining us. I swear he was dating Taylor Swift. I'd heard that rumor. There was a couple of them I didn't even get
Taylor
to.
Swift, and then there were some rumors about Carrie Underwood. I guess Carrie, when her husband's playing hockey, she's going around with the gas man.
Yeah. The only problem is I heard that rumor too. Is why I changed my number to 53 to be like the gas man, and now that he's not, I'm gonna have to change my number to something else.
He's staying to 53.
I might be 17.
Well, maybe there you go.
Well, the whole Carrie Underwood thing. The only reason why I was told about Carrie Underwood, and I didn't believe it, was because after she came out that one song, "Jesus Take the Wheel," it was all about Jack Dover.
Here we go. And by the way, we're just kidding. Those rumors aren't even true. We want to have a little fun with Jack, so we don't want to start anything and get Jack in any trouble. We were just having a little fun with him. That was Jack Dover, gas man, driver the number 53 sprint car. Going to race a couple of Midwest ASCS races out of I-80 a couple of times this year, and kind of going around the country. So hopefully he gets that ARCA ride, and hopefully next year they'll come to their senses and he'll get that World of Outlaw ride. Just around the corner, we're going to wrap the show up and talk about Phoenix International Raceway as the Cup Boys are headed over to PIR. This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Get ready for the victory lap as we make our way into Turn 4 on the Front Stretch. Presented by Joe's Karting. Online at joeskarting.com.
And this is Turn 4. We're heading into the final turn of the Front Stretch, wrapping the show up. Guys, the NASCAR boys are headed over to PIR. You can catch all of the action today because Quaker Steak and Lube is going to have it down in the Brickyard. We were out there. I was out there Sunday for the Daytona 500.
You remember that day?
I remember the beginning of the race. I was down there having a good time, enjoying the lube tubes. They have great specials. Get down there. They are the official watering hole of the Front Stretch, and we want to thank them for their support and sponsorship this year as we keep this thing called the Front Stretch alive for a third straight year. And we thank you, as always, for joining us. But let's talk about Phoenix International Raceway. It's become quite the track since they have repaved and slightly redesigned. The back part of the track, which used to be grass, they have paved that whole inside, what do you want to call that, inside the groove? That inner part of the track on the back side of it used to be grass. Now it's all asphalt. And it adds for an extra lane to where if they cut down out of turn 2, they can kind of get a little bit more momentum. Some drivers like to do it, some drivers don't. It makes for very interesting racing, and we saw some interesting racing last year during the, the October race, the November race, where a little bit of fireworks between Clint Boyer and Jeff Gordon. I think you said it best. I don't expect to see any retaliation. I agree with you. I think Clint's going to wait a little bit longer until it hurts Jeff worse.
Do you still think that there's a possibility of some retaliation at some point in time this year?
I don't.
Absolutely, I do.
Thank you, Andrew.
Absolutely, I think Clint. But listen, did you honestly expect Jeff Gordon to retaliate against Clint Boyer?
No,
and he did it, right?
He might wait. He might wait for the time is right. It won't be this early. He might wait till the time is right.
Was that actual retaliation?
Yes, he said it was retaliation for Martinsville.
He planned on retaliating that day.
Yes, not that day, but
he said I am fed up with him, and he said it right when he was going to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I don't remember that, but okay.
I think Clint's going to do it. If you saw him during the award ceremony, they would not really acknowledge each other. They requested to not do interviews with each other, and they requested interviewees did not ask them about the event because they didn't want to talk about it. They were still mad about it. And even going into speed weeks, Clint was still saying, I don't want to talk about it. Jeff could have cost him a championship, and how mad would you have been if that would have happened? You were that close to winning a NASCAR Sprint Cup championship, and it was all because Jeff Gordon wrecked you at Phoenix. You think you would just let that go?
Yeah,
slap a guy on the butt and say, okay, we'll go race the next weekend?
Karma's you know what it is, but I don't think Clint's going to sit there and go, at Martinsville, I'm going to take him out, or Bristol, I'm going to take him out.
I think if it's race to the win, he might.
I think he's going to wait until it hurts Jeff the worst.
I think Clint's more professional than that.
I do.
I don't think professionalism has anything to do with it. I think he's a hardcore race boy that doesn't give a flip about being politically correct.
We'll see.
He's from the Midwest, bud. Come on.
Last year at Phoenix, Denny Hamlin took home the checkered flag. This was February Phoenix last year. Kevin Harvick came home second. Greg Biffle third. Jimmy Johnson fourth. Brad Keselowski was top 5. We started this points thing as a spur of the moment last week before Daytona. It's a contest between us three. Here are the rules. We pick our drivers. I picked Kevin Harvick to win. You had Andrew. You had Kyle Busch. And Bud, you had Jeff Gordon, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we just picked them at a whim. Now, for the next 5 weeks, you cannot pick that same driver. That's the rule. Whoever finished best picks last. Whoever finished worst picks first. Middle picks middle. I finished worst with Kevin Harvick finishing, 42nd?
Something like that.
I think Kyle Busch finished, We
were around 30th position.
Yeah. And then, Buddy, you finished in the 20th. So, Buddy's leading in the points right now. And the way the points go, you are awarded the points that your driver takes home that week. So, right now, let's see.
Bud is leading the points.
I know. Well, listen, like we said off the air, enjoy it now because the way you go, you're going to be a dead last before long. Buddy has 25 points. Andrew, you have a whopping 10, and I have 2. I haven't even broken double digits yet, but it's early in the season, and I don't think anybody would have picked Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick to not finish in the top 10.
You better start picking smart fast.
Well, it's not hard to do. I mean, look at me.
You're 23 points behind me.
Nothing
beats a Bud. Learn it, live it.
Says the guy who picked Kurt Busch in Phoenix Racing to be in the chase last year, didn't even finish top 25.
Didn't even finish with Phoenix Racing.
Right.
Okay, so anyway.
All right, so who's your picks? I picked worst, so I'm going to go Denny Hamlin this week. Andrew?
The champion, Jimmy Johnson.
You're going with Jimmy Johnson?
This is a good one. You know what? Ironically, I'm going to go Gordon.
You can't.
You just picked him. It's a rule.
Dear God. You can't pick the same driver in 5 weeks.
Okay, let me restart that. So
No, you're not restarting. We're not editing that out. I only edit out when I sound dumb.
Okay. That Kyle Busch.
You're picking Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch.
All right. So I got I don't even forget who. I'm going Hamlin. Andrew's got
the champ.
Jimmy Johnson and for the tiebreaker, let's say 2 people tie at the end of the season. We're going to decide on who we think is the champion. That will be so I'll pick my champion. If Andrew, you and I tie for the points lead, whoever I pick as a champion, if my pick finishes higher than your pick, then I win the series.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
I'm going to go with Kyle Busch as my champion for the year. You've already said yours.
He might not ever lose the points lead the whole season.
Hopefully not. Yeah, I invented 2 words there. So you're going Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
Andrew's going Jimmy Johnson. Who do you have for your champion this year?
Clint Boyer.
That's a good pick.
Fair. I think all 3 are very fair. Those would be my top 3 right there. That's very fair.
That's going to be it. We want to say thank you again to all of our sponsors, Joe's Karting, Kosiski Auto Parts, as always, Quaker Steak and Lube, the official watering hole of the front stretch. Also got FX Shocks. Want to thank those guys for coming on board with us this year. PIR, just around the corner. Get down to Quaker Steak and Lube and enjoy the race, all the great specials, and have a great Sunday. We thank you so much for joining. And this has been The Front Stretch, presented by Joe's Karting on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.